Welcome to this 8th part of a 9-part series in which we look at a range of functionality in Power BI. So what we're going to look at here is how to publish the workbook to a Power BI site. First of all, we're going to prepare the workbook for publication. Secondly, we're going to publish the workbook itself. And finally, we will look at exploring the workbook in the browser. The workbook can be prepared prior to publication, and this involves items such as hiding worksheets, turning off grid lines and headers, and setting default parameter values. It also involves defining named ranges to allow changing of cell values in the workbook. So what we can do here is we can have a look at some of the slicers. So in the group slicer, we clearly filter so that we actually select all items. We are going to remove a worksheet that we don't need, which is called lookup, and in our example we actually repointed the Excel workbook back towards a Power Pivot model, and to do that we are going to delete a worksheet that we don't actually need. What we're going to do next is in the File tab we're going to have a look at Browser View options. These options control what can be rendered by the service. So what we want to do is we're going to change the parameters, we're going to click on Add, and we're going to check fiscal year. Going to click OK twice, and we're going to save the workbook. And there's the size of the file, is 1.91 meg, so really it's not very large. Now we're going to close the workbook. Once we've uploaded the Excel workbook to Power BI, this is how it looks. So for example, if we go back to our sales dashboard, we can select slicer members, just for North America for example, and we can enter parameters and then click Apply. And what we see here is that our data changes. This is now a solution delivered by a data model in Excel in the cloud. And the complete development process has now been completed. We can interact with the filters fairly easily, and we even have our spark lines at the end. If we want to look at salesperson sales, we can see here, we looked at Garrett earlier and we saw a lot of his information was quite red, and if we go back to 2011 we can see the changes appear as well. We can also interact with the Power Map. So for example, if we would just want to see bikes on their own, we have that information. We want to click on clothing, then bikes gets brushed out and clothing appears. We could also show the filters if we wanted. To summarise, the complete development process has now been completed. In the next section we'll look at a quick hands-on lab solution which goes through some of the concepts we've learned in an end-to-end fashion.